pass from Havili was magic. The shift on for Crotty. Boom, far down you go, Quackett Smith. Me, oh my, I have enjoyed that. Yes, boy.
Sit back, relax, put your belt on, and enjoy the show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Draft Rugby Show. It's grand final week, and the excitement here is palpable. Cargie, I'm joined by you, mate. How you doing?
Mate, I am fantastic. I'm loving this first take intro of yours. It is really good stuff.
It's perfect, as always, mate. And Harry, how you going?
Fantastic. I just can't believe we nail this first try every time.
Yeah, it's just smooth when Cargie doesn't host. That's the main thing that the listeners have been talking about. But I'm your host, Nelson. On the weekend, I was lucky enough to get amongst something called the Rugby Royal Rumble. Did you boys listen?
I did, actually. I really enjoyed it.
So I'm about halfway through, but it's really good stuff. It's I'm sure was it largely organised by you, Nels?
It was nothing to do with me organising. You could tell how it was organised well. But yeah, look, it featured a lot of the boys from, the up and coming podcasts. If you look to our screen now, you actually be seeing them. No, Harry, you've taken it down. So yeah, we'll put it up now. You actually will be able to see the boys. This is an actual photo from the live video that we took, but it features Ando. He hosted it from the Pick and Drive podcast. It had Mitch Evans from Rugby Fixation. I think he had a hand in organising it with Matt from Gold Digger. Those two are the guys that planned it all out. But if you haven't listened, do yourself a favour, and it's our most recent pod.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is that everyone helped organise except you.
No, look, I mean, Ando didn't help organise it, but he ran it perfectly. So, right. Yeah, that's probably fair.
No, it was really good, and I think it was a really good wrap up to Super Rugby AU, and a good look forward. So, I think definitely worth going back and listening, despite the fact that it's a week old now.
They've already talked. It was actually done on Sunday, but they've already talked about potentially doing this again in a couple of weeks, and they've said, please, can we have Harry on, but no Cargie?
Right?
Yeah, they haven't talked about a third ep.
Fantastic, mate. That's good. I'm sure you're taking your hosting cues from Ando. But no, look, I'm only about halfway through. It did start off as a bit of a mutual admiration society. But no, look, it was good to have some positive chat about rugby, I think. And that's really the message you guys got across. Is this big blowing up, a change of the guards, new coverage, and lots of podcasts coming up. And it's really good getting together, getting some ideas out there.
Yeah, I think
even if they're Nelson's ideas.
You collectively all patted each other on the back to say that you're the reason that Stan Sports has been such a success as well. Is that right?
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Something along those lines, definitely. But look, we're going into the main talking points of the qualifying final. Harry, what did you see as these main qualifying final points?
Yeah, so probably the first one was the Force versus Brumbies game. You had that red card, which I thought was the end of the game. And I think the big talking point from that was just how well the Force were able to actually stay in it and push that game to late in the match to before the Brumbies could finally clinch the game. But I thought they played exceptionally well, and I think did a really good justice, did a great justice to the fact that we have that second versus third playoff, which, to be honest with you, I was pretty hesitant about early.
Look,
I agree. They did a good justice, but no, I think the red card, that's right. Look, I thought it was really interesting because previously we've seen red cards. I remember in probably the last World Cup, the 2015 World Cup, it was the last World Cup, Argentina getting a red card against England. And it was before halftime, you just went, game over. Like, I'm not even watching the rest of this.
Yeah.
But the new rules, I think this is great, showing that, first of all, teams have trained a lot more with 14 players, but also that it doesn't necessarily kill the game.
I think it's similar to in the past when teams versus the Waratahs got a red card. You said this game's still open for anyone to win because the Tars, they don't take advantage of it. But no, look.
Well, I mean, the Waratahs have played like they've had 2 red cards the whole season. I mean, they played like they've had 12 men on the field.
Yeah, definitely something along those lines. But look, talking about the qualifying final in Australia, I think the interesting thing out of this, it's now the second year we've had it, and the second year Super Rugby Aotearoa hasn't had it. And for us, we've been playing to that last round, fighting to get to this second, third playoff, whereas we've had dead rubbers in New Zealand where, I mean, the Chiefs this week basically rested most of their players, and it was a B or a C team for them, and I get that there's positives of being able to play some of these young players, giving them a chance, but for me, if they were fighting for something, I think it would make more sense.
Can I ask, I think you guys will differ to my opinion on this, but the fact that the Chiefs and Blues both ended up at the end of the season on 20 competition points, but the Chiefs automatically go through because they have 5 wins and the Blues only had 4 wins. So the Blues accumulate a lot more bonus points.
And they had a better for and against.
But they had a much
what
better
was the difference
for
in for and against though?
The Chiefs had like minus 50. The Blues had plus like 30 or 40 or something. So I don't know. For mine, I think it shouldn't matter about who has more wins because I think you can lose one, you can win one less game, but if you're getting all these bonus points, I think it should be points on the table and then for and against, and then it should be how many games won afterwards. What do you guys think?
I'm actually on a similar point with you. I think I'd be going for and against before I was going for who got the most wins.
It's great to say that, guys, but the reason that they're both on 20 points is because the Chiefs decided to rest their entire team. Like they would have easily been the favourites for that game.
No, exactly. Well, I would have even preferred that. I would have preferred. How much better would that have been if that was a deciding game?
Yeah, it wouldn't have been a dead rubber. It would have had more meaning.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't mind. To be honest, I don't mind it either way. And I think the Chiefs played it exactly as they should have.
Let's not get.
I just meant that I would prefer the way the points were. But I was just going to say before we move on, Nels, the Blues social media, I loved it. They started going with the "Stop the Steal" tweet about the competition points. That was great.
They also said putting the L back in Hamilton, which I thought was really quite good. But Harry, what else did you pick up from this weekend?
Look, the other one was obviously just, as I've already alluded to, first of all, the Chiefs' massively young team.
Yeah.
So many debutants there, and I think Cargie's got a few players that he's going to touch on soon, but we won't spoil that one for him. Then lastly, Liam Messam from that game, 180 games and he's come back. That was
good.
Pretty old and new.
He's about the only old man in Super Rugby Aotearoa that's been signed that got some game time. So how good it took him about 5 days or something from signing a contract to get in the field.
Well, I was saying some of those young players, they probably grew up watching Liam Messam play. They had posters of him on their wall.
Definitely.
100%. And then lastly, the Hurricanes versus Highlanders game. So Hurricanes actually getting their shit together and just taking the Highlanders to school. I thought it was the first time that we saw the combination of Campbell and Love work well together at 9 and 10 for the Hurricanes. And it was really telling the disruption that the Highlanders have had to their backline. I think was probably the big talking point for there. But I've got to say, Nehem Milner-Skudder, how good to see him back on the field and getting the Scudder step out.
We all love him. He's such a great player.
And Ruben Love, mate, he's looking very good. So he's definitely a prospect to watch.
Yeah, mate, I had him for that 1 week and he did nothing for me. And it's been good. He's still on my side. So it's been good to see him perform. Last week, it was a positive.
But look, as you said, Harry, talking about exciting players, who was I excited about? A pair of youngsters, a pair of brothers, somewhat like yourselves, Zahn and Balin Sullivan, both starting in the game, the Blues and the Chiefs. It was Zahn Sullivan's debut. I've talked him up to great lengths all year this year, just saying put him on. We've all said put Para-franchise in at 10, put Zahn Sullivan at fullback. Maybe that was only me saying put him at fullback, but no, very exciting 20-year-old. He's basically Will Jordan 2.0, which is a huge call. I'm prepared to say it. Mate, I was calling Will Jordan about 3 years ago saying, based on his ITM Cup form, he's going to be unbelievable. And I thought Zahn Sullivan was great. Look, he didn't have any of those massive Will Jordan attacking runs, but God, he's got a big boot on him, and he played with such composure. I thought he's the best fullback of the Blues. What did you guys think?
Yeah, look, I mean, he's clearly a talent, but we know.
Para-franchise is clearly their best fullback.
Mate, he's a 10 para-franchise.
He's clearly a talent, but he's young and he's very raw. If you
completely disagree with Cargie as well.
No. If you're picking between him and Para-franchise, I mean, there's no question.
Well, Cargie just said he was their best fullback. No, but Blues.
Yeah, because Para-franchise is their best fly half.
He probably is, but he's also the best fullback.
True.
But also, sorry, I touched on Balin Sullivan. He started on the wing for the Chiefs. He's played a few games before. He's 22, the older brother. Just also an exciting player, I think. Yeah, he plays centre or wing. I think he's more of a winger. Look, I'm certainly more excited about Zahn Sullivan, but both of those brothers, fantastic players. They're going to be really good in years to come.
Yeah, Zahn's that sort of 10-15 that's very tall, very big body as well. But
That's
It'll
good.
be exciting to see him, but he is young and he's raw, so it's going to take some time. But look, was there anything else that caught your interest?
I was sorry. I know I'm doing a lot of talking, but Len Ikitau. I was going to throw this softball to Harry in terms of Harry was struggling to think of moments from the weekend, but Len Ikitau made that run. How good was that? He literally, stepped one or two people and then just made about 7 or 8 tackle busts over 40 meters, just through the whole team. He's just getting better and better. I love it.
I was thinking that he'd been a little bit quieter in the last couple of weeks, and he changed my mind in the span of about 3 seconds. He did what some centres take 80 minutes to do. So,
mate, some centres dream a lifetime of having that kind of run. Mate.
Yeah, it was awesome. Look, for me, there's someone who just really stood out for me, and he does it week in, week out. I've been so excited to see him this year. If you flick across to our video, you'll see him now. It's the superstar, the next blind side. It's Rob Valentini. How good was he? He made 13 runs for 68 meters, made 7 tackle busts. He had a try assist, 5 tackles. This guy has gone from strength to strength. He's 22, and apparently at training, he is just absolutely dominating, running over guys, putting big hits on. He is switched on, and he's taking every opportunity he can to get better, and I love to see it.
Yeah, we've talked about him a lot all season and how good he has been. And I'm one that was hard to convince in the past seasons, but I'm a convert this year. He's been exceptional.
I think it's because we've been expecting this year from him every year, the last 4 weeks, since he's been 18. No, he really has delivered this year. Another massive game, and he's got to be in the front runners for the Wallabies 6 jersey, you'd think. But just to add some insult to injury though for Harry, he's that good that he's the type of player that you would normally find in my fantasy team. And Harry and I were talking up a trade in our last fantasy round. It wasn't this week, but had Harry had traded me Rob Valentini. We both just got caught up at work, actually. It's not his fault. It's both our faults. But he would have won his last fantasy round. So,
and basically would have locked me in for the finals as well. There would have been no pressure. So
how do you feel? Would you prefer the win, Harry, or are you happy that you held on to Rob Valentini?
No, I want the win.
Aren't you boys locked in for the finals? I thought we all were. Is that just me?
I think it's just huge, yeah.
I think it could be. Harry, just wait. That's a step too far, mate. You just called him champ. Let's calm down.
I know, right? It's the one time that doesn't actually...
That was a bit of a slip up,
Look, Harry, you also had another point from the weekend?
Yeah, my big one was the first ever brother and sister family playing Super Rugby. So you obviously have Marino Michaela-Tu'u. Now his sister Liana Michaela-Tu'u is a loose forward playing for the Blues. So she played in the first ever Super Rugby women's match. So I thought that was a pretty cool thing to have happened.
Super Rugby women's match in New Zealand. We've been doing it for 3 years. So.
I was going to say we have to take that chip.
New Zealand did claim it. The commentators did say it was the first Super Rugby W or whatever match ever, and it's like no, you're 3 years behind.
Calm down, Ben. Yeah.
But then, so do we get a Trans-Tasman of that as well, please?
No,
absolutely.
But that would be cool.
Yeah,
we don't even know
double headers. They're not exactly. It's not a case of curtain raisers, mate, but just double headers. How much better is it going?
Yeah.
If you go down to a game, there's 2 games on. How much better is that?
It would be sick.
I'd love to watch the girls and then the guys play. How good!
Yeah. Before the girls have an under-20s team, I'll go watch all 3.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need to triple the amount of rugby that we're watching because our wives love it so much.
To be honest, for the Waratahs, we'll get the Waratahs women's team on to play instead of the men. You know what I mean? They'll probably do a better job.
Potentially.
They're pretty good.
This is the positivity you can expect from this podcast.